Mita?
Hi. I missed the very beginning, I'm sorry, but I just want to know, do you always sketch? Do you ever go straight to paint?
Yes. Sometimes I do go straight to paint. I find that I have a lot more struggle. And I don't know if that's just because in my mind I'm still not entirely convinced that I'm an artist, so I'm insecure. I'm not really sure why that is, but I seem to need the drawing first. And the better my drawing is, usually the better my painting is.
Even with your abstract?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
I completely understand about your, and identify with your insecurities as an artist. And I'm wondering, what did it take, or how could you share with me what happened or what took place where you felt comfortable with sharing your work with the public?
I think that's been a long, hard road.
It's like being naked in a room full of people. That's how I feel.
Yeah, in some ways.
It's like just bearing your soul.
In some ways it is, but I think just like anything else, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And you have to find a way to, whether you visualize words rolling off your back.
Was there a gallery at your school where, when you were in school, that you showed work as a student?
Yes, but we only had one show as when we graduated as seniors. So, I mean, it was a small enough school that the exhibiting part of it might have maybe been a little lacking, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I also think, you know, when you're in school, you're kind of in a group and you have the support of the other students and the professors, and you've got a little bit of a support system. You know, as an artist, once you go out on your own, you sometimes forget that there's other artists, and we all struggle. Sorry.
How about your family? You came from a family of musicians. What did they think when you shifted from your instruments to the brush?
Well, I think I'm lucky because my family, you know, they seem to just support whatever I decide to do. And they, you know, deep down my mother still hopes that I'm going to have like 4 babies and become a regular person. Maybe when I'm 60 that'll go away, I don't know. So.
I was wondering if you've had a show, a collaboration with your music family and your art together anywhere.
No, and my family, you know, they're not professional musicians. It's mostly more of a hobby. And so I think especially when I first started to paint, they really felt like it was going to be a hobby. And the fact that it hasn't just been a hobby, that was a little hard. And, you know, but they're getting used to it.
Have you painted any of them, your family?
No.
Portraits?
No. Well, I don't live near them, so
Oh.
it's a little hard. Perhaps one of these days.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I had an artist friend who painted her mother for a really big juried show. And she said to me, "Oh, Karina, everybody needs to paint their mother." I don't know, that seems pretty ambitious.
Was it cathartic? Is that why?
Well, her mother was kind of bossing her around and
So
saying
it's cathartic.
things like, you know, don't paint my hands. And so,
I painted my 2 children and they absolutely hated it and gave the painting back.
oh, that's awful. I'm sorry. That's kind of a blow to the ego.
That's part of it, you know.
How much do you charge for a portrait, depending on the medium?
I don't usually do commission portrait work. I don't feel comfortable yet. I've done 2 commission portraits that I was paid for, and they were dear friends, and it was terrifying because I loved them and I wanted them to understand that I thought so well of them both, and I wanted the paintings to be so great. It was really stressful. My husband was like, never again, Karina, you're done. No more commission portraits. So now I just kind of do it for myself, and again, it's really a way for me to convince myself I'm an artist.
Have you
To
painted
be
your
a good
husband?
leader. What'd you say?
Have you painted your husband?
No.
Have you painted yourself?
Yes,
Okay.
several times.
This is good.
Yeah. I'm a pretty easy model. Because I don't care if it looks like me.
Well, what you see in the mirror is not what we see,
No,
and that's good.
no. And the first self-portrait that I ever did, my mother looked at it and said, well, Karina, that doesn't look anything like you. Thanks, Mom. But then I was vindicated because some stranger in the parking lot came right up to me and said, oh, you look just like your painting.
So it's good that you don't live near the family.
Sometimes. I do miss them, though. I love them, despite my complaints, of course. I don't think I have anything else to say.
I guess when I listen to you, I hear a really self-motivated painter. The external world doesn't tell you what to do or when to paint, but how or who to paint.
And
That
I think
all comes from inside.
that's why I became an artist, because I'm not very good at doing what people tell me to do.
Neither am I.
I'm getting better.
That's the other side. But what I'm more interested in is that inner motivation, that fire that makes you have to go in even though you kick and scream all the way in and do something.
Yes. I don't know what to say about that, except that I do find that I seem to have to paint. It's a need.
And that's the difference between a hobby and an art.
What did she say?
Have you mentioned the book that you recommended?
Oh, yes, good one. There's a lovely lady back there who's a fellow artist who recommended a book to me called The War of Art, written by a writer, a man named Stephen Pressfield. And it's one of the most amazing books about doing art and the struggle to get in there and do art even when it seems futile. And I actually keep that book in my studio, and if I'm having trouble, I'll pick it up and read just a sentence or maybe a paragraph. And boy, the next thing you know, I'm up there painting. It's a great book.
It helped in our studio.
Yeah,
Thank you for
it's really it's a short book, and it's really powerful. It's just, I mean, I think what happens, or at least what happened with me, is that even though I had a degree in art and I wanted to be an artist, I ran right up against this wall. And in this book, Stephen Pressfield calls that resistance with a capital R, and he gives it a name. Like, this is a normal thing to feel, that you will struggle to be the person you're going to be. And it's really cool.
What's his last name?
Pressfield.
The War of Art?
The War of Art.
What about Carla's book?
Carla's book, The Drawing Lab. I have another good friend who's an artist, Carla Sondheim, a magical person, as many of you are. What should I say about that book?
Tell them your part in it.
Oh, well, she was kind enough to, it's a book for people who want to draw more, especially a lot of artists who are mixed media artists maybe, or abstract artists, you know, are afraid of drawing. And her book is all about how to make drawing fun and not intimidating, and it's called Drawing Lab. And she was kind enough to feature a little section about my figurative work and what sort of my advice would be for artists and how to be comfortable drawing the figure. And so,
And with pictures of your work.
And pictures of my work.
This is the time to go ahead and
I'm not very good at this.
Okay, Karine, you can brag a little.
I don't know, but
Well, it was like 20,000.
yeah, she sold really well on Amazon. And it wasn't just me. She pulled from a number of artist friends, and each one had a little kind of tutorial in the book. It's a cool book, actually, because you get sort of these little bits of information from all these wonderful, talented artists, and that's cool.
Are you familiar with Betty Ward's book, Drawings from the Right Side of the Brain?
I'm familiar with it, but to be honest, I've never actually read it.
You haven't? Would you like to?
I'm sure at some point I probably will.
what was your suggestion to artists out there?
Well, what I said was just, if you really want to draw and you really want to draw the figure, then you should do it, and not, it is kind of intimidating because figure drawing and life drawing, look who we have to compare ourselves to, Rembrandt and, goodness, Picasso. It's scary. And I think you can easily be taken over by being intimidated, and my advice is just to go for it, because once you get going, it's worth it.
May I ask what, if you have some other things that you do or have around you for inspiration, like is there a certain type of music or certain light or something that kind of special painting apron you wear or cape, or is there something like that?
All those things.
All
yes.
of them.
I guess I should have mentioned that because I came from music to art, I always listen to music when I paint, always. And a lot of my work comes directly from the music, especially the abstract work. Not as much this, but and it's almost like there's a routine or sort of a regimen prior to working.
A ritual.
Yes, thank you. That's the right word. Yeah.
Okay, well, the next question has to be, what kind of music do you listen to?
It depends. When I have a model, I try to either have them bring music that they like, which I really prefer, because if the model brings the music, that's also part of who they are. And I like that, especially the young woman. I painted her many times, but if you look at the charcoal down on the end here of the woman with the headdress, she was a belly dancer. And when she modeled for us, we wanted her to bring her belly dance music in, and it was so cool. But when I'm painting myself like an abstract, then I usually listen to very loud, angry music. I was a punk rocker, so it's...
Is there a website we could see more of your work on?
Yes, if you're interested in seeing more of my work, I do have business cards up here with links to my website, and I brought a few other pictures of some of my other figures and also some of my abstract work, if you're curious. So